there, want to welcome you to my channel, Learn with Tina Logassi from Heirloom Designs. And today what I want to show you is some techniques for making these pretty Easter spring decor items. You could also use these techniques for fall, winter decor. It really just depends on what you decide to use for your graphic on these. The idea I had for this is, well, first of all, the egg was really cool. I came across these wooden eggs at the dollar store and I thought they were brilliant. And right away I thought I want to paint them, do some decoupage. That's what I did to this. And it would be very cool to have a bowl filler done with these eggs, or a little bunny that's maybe holding an egg or something for springtime. Now, unfortunately, I went back and the dollar store did not have any more of these eggs. So I just have the two, and I saved one in order to show you how I made this one. And the other thing I want to show you is another way to use these peat pots. You get them in the springtime at the dollar store. They're used for starting seeds, but here I am painting them, doing some decoupage. And then the plan is that I might do like a little bunny coming out of this, out of fabric. You could also fill them with some Spanish moss, do some of these eggs inside. Just some nice ideas to start with spring decor. So the first thing to do is you need to get some fun images. So to do that, you end up taking tissue paper, printing on the tissue paper images that you find on your computer or online. There will be a link below for some royalty-free images that are already ready for you to print off onto your tissue paper. So you can check that when you expand the captions. But for now, I am going to show you how I did that. So what I have, and I have a laser printer, so I'm extra cautious what I put into my printer because I don't want a piece of paper to get stuck in there, and tissue paper is far too thin to feed through a printer on its own. So I have a piece of printer paper, and this is just tissue paper from the dollar store. Ideally, it has no coating on it because then it will kind of dissolve away a little bit when you Mod Podge it later. So I just get the cheapest I can. Hey, please excuse this blue that's on my finger. I was doing some painting earlier. So I'm just going to take this tissue paper and I'm going to cut it down so that I've got a bit of just a border around where I can tape it down to the paper. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to be inside of the piece of paper you're taping this to, because you don't really want your paper to go around the edge. So I'll put this away. And I'm going to center this, and then just with some normal tape, I'm going to start at this end and make sure it's nicely down in place. Now, unfortunately, this does cut down on the amount, your actual working area, but I honestly don't know of any other way of doing this. I've done this now 3 times, and I have not had it get stuck in my printer once yet. It is a little bit slow to feed it in. It takes a moment because it probably recognizes that maybe it's a bit thicker than normal, or maybe it gets the rollers might get stuck there. Now here I am going to fold it over simply because when I go to feed this sheet, this is the side I'm going to feed into my printer first. This side I'm not even going to bother taping down because it won't need it, because the way my printer works is it rolls it around and prints on it. And I kind of want to give it somewhere so that as it's feeding, it can push that extra tissue paper into one direction. So I think that that might help it help prevent it from jamming. Just an idea. So this is what I have that I'm going to print on, and I'm going to take you to my computer and we're going to search for some images. All right, this is actually the first time I've ever recorded my computer screen, so it's kind of exciting. We're going to start by, I'm going to show you Canva. So if you have not used Canva before, it's a free software. I pay for a upgrade where I get a lot more use out of it, but you can just open a free account. And this is my open screen. If I go to create a design, I will go to custom size, and I'm just going to do an 8.5 by 11 size sheet. So this is sort of where I'm going to be dropping graphics in order to print them onto my transparency paper thing. All right, so where can you get graphics? This is something new I've discovered. It's called Picryl, and I will link these down below. Picryl. They have a lot of public domain stuff, and I just thought this was super cute with the bunnies and the mom. And this is from those old Beatrix Potter, I want to say, is what this looks like to me. So that's one option. And then there's also this graphics fairy, and she has a lot of everything. Again, it's free. I believe she also has a subscription in case you want more. But I am just in her free stuff right now. She's got image categories here. You can go in there and hunt around. And I found there's some nice Easter ones. Sorry about all the ads. Yeah, these are all bunnies. Super cute. So you pick something from there. And any of these afterwards, you can print them in black and white. They don't have to be color images. So there's that. And this other one I found, Old Design Shop. So really, if you just do a Google search on free illustrations, royalty-free, public domain, I mean, you'll find all sorts of things. So I was going through here, and I actually really like this rooster free vintage clip art. So I'm going to click on that and click on image to enlarge. And honestly, detail doesn't matter that much to me, and this looks good how it is. So I am actually going to just get rid of this thingy. Good. I'm going to right click on it and save the image as Old Design Shop on the desktop, just so that I can find it. Save. Okay, and that's now saved me a JPEG. So I'm going to close that up, and I'm going to go into my 8.5 by 11, and I will upload desktop, and there's that image. You can see some other stuff that I've been playing around with. Okay, now it's free, and there we go. So right now it's going to print it quite large, and you saw the size of the egg and whatever else I'm going to be printing on. So I'm going to just grab this corner and see how you can make it smaller. And I think I actually was playing around with sizes in these. So basically this size, is that the one? Oh, no, I'm sorry. This one. This size down here is the perfect little size for those little pots. So I'm going to make this a little smaller. Just going to eyeball it, and a little smaller than that. Okay, and that should be good. And at the same time, the original rooster stuff, I got it from here, and it was this one. So I might pick for the other egg. Actually, for the other egg, I think I'll use this one. And this, I'm going to edit photo, crop it. And I'm kind of curious how this is going to look on the little peat pot that I have, because it'll kind of wrap around. So I'm just going to crop it here. And for size, I'm going to have some images put together for you, so you don't have to necessarily go through this, but this is just showing you if you want to find your own image. And keep in mind, if it's just for personal use, you can pretty much grab, like some of these I just screen grabbed that were not necessarily in the public domain, but I am not selling anything from this. I'm just playing. I am just showing you this. So, I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about that. All right, so I'm going to actually center these a bit more because, again, keep in mind that we're going to lose a lot of that edge. If I don't have them too small, I might do one bigger because I have some bigger peat pots that I'm going to be playing around with. And I just want to see how that looks on that. Okay, so next I'm going to click share, download. I always pick transparent background for this, and I always increase the size a bit just so I know I've got a really good quality or very high quality image. Download. And then you give it a moment, and then I'm going to go into my download files. Now, this is going to look different on the PC, I should mention that, but it gives you an idea. Okay, so file, print, and yeah, I'm going to my printer. I am going to make sure that I am got the color turned off because I do want this in a basic black and white. And that's it. So then the next job I have is to feed the paper. Actually, I'm just going to do that. You won't be able to see what I'm doing, but I can talk you through it. I'm going to load my paper with the not tracing paper, I'm sorry, with the tissue paper on it. So that went up in the printer just fine. I'm going to hit the print button, and this is where I cross my fingers, hoping that I haven't done anything that's going to jam up in my printer. And I hear it thinking, going, here we go. And I think that should be it. Yeah. All right, so I'll meet you on the other side. Hey guys, I am back, and this is what came out of my printer. Super happy with it. It's going to work well for this. So I'm just going to cut this out. There we go. And I just really like the farmhouse vintage look of illustrations. But I can show you some other ones I had printed. So these ones were in color, and that's what I ended up putting on this peat pot and this larger one. That's why I printed this one, is I want to see how it looks across a larger pot. And then the egg, you can see that was the rooster I did, which is really cool. Okay, so we have our images ready to go. I'm just going to put them aside because we're going to start with painting. So I have just vanilla. It's just an off-white. This one is a satin finish. You can use whatever finish you want. You can use chalk paint, really anything. Pardon the noise if you heard that. That was definitely the paint. Okay, and all right, I think I am ready. So I am going to, I just need to have a little towel. This is a big towel actually. I've got my egg, I've got my small pot and my large one. And I'm going to take an excessively large paintbrush, but that's just how I like to work. And I'm gonna start with this one and just really going all around the outside. All I do is one coat. It's up to you if you want to paint the inside. It depends on what your final project is going to be, whether or not it's worth your time to paint it, or if it's going to be seen or not. That's the first one done on the outside. And of course, in true Tina fashion, I ran out of my vanilla. So I'm going to take I've got some white gesso here, and I'm just going to go in there. It's a bit thick because it is gesso. Put it here, and I'm going to try to thin that up. I'm going to keep going. Now with the egg, it's a little more challenging because of the shape of it in terms of drying it. And actually you can see I'm getting some lines on it that I'm not such a fan of. So I am going to switch to, see what I've gotten here, to this rounded brush. Because I think that this won't drag as much. And yes, my fingers are going to get a bit of paint on them. You could probably set up a little egg carton and do one half followed by the other half. But a little paint on the fingers didn't hurt anybody. And because I've got that gesso in there, I end up with the paint's a bit thick, which is why I keep adding a bit of water into it. You plan ahead a little better than I did, you will have enough of whatever color paint that you'd wanted on hand. Okay, and that looks pretty good. Whoa! Sorry, I just noticed a spot on the back that I missed. Okay, that should be fine. And I'm just going to lay this on a piece of paper to dry. There we go. And I may go back over some parts of it. Okay, I'm back again. I'm just going to go over my egg one last time. You could play with the colors on these eggs. You could do some nice blues, greens, pinks, pastels, kind of vintage looking colors, depending on what your final plans were. And I've also seen these eggs come in smaller sizes. So I may play around with that at some point if I get my hands on some to see how challenging it would be to decoupage them, because they can get quite small. All right. That should be good. Are these ready? I can actually go ahead on the inside of these. I do want to do a little bit, just this top part on the inside. Okay, and this one as well. You're going to want to let these fully dry before you do the decoupaging step. So I will give these a good long time until they're totally dry. And if you notice the outside's dried up, but the inside's still a little bit wet, just flip them back over and let them finish drying like that. Okay guys, I am back. I'm ready to show you the next step. I have my egg and 2 peat pots. And I'm going to take the pictures we just did together. And I'm just going to rip them. You could use scissors, but I'm not sure if you'll end up with kind of a hard line that's visible around. So I'm just going to do this because I definitely don't want to end up with that. So that image, I want to try my egg. And then this smaller version, the chicken, I'm going to try on the small peat pot, and the large image will be for the large one. You can also use, if you find decorative napkins, they also work well. There are places that sell decorative napkins for scrapbooking and such, and those would work really good. Just checking my sizing. So I'm going to take a little bit more off the top, but other than that, this image is fitting nicely. Okay, that should do that one. This one, that'll work well. And I can already tell that that one is fine for that. So I'm going to take matte Mod Podge, pour some out, and a paintbrush. And I think I'll just start with the egg. So I'm going to go in underneath. Now, whether or not, I believe you can probably do this with plastic eggs as well. I have a feeling though with that, you would have to Mod Podge on the white first, maybe with just some plain tissue paper, because painting plastic would be challenging unless you had like a spray paint that was kind of like a primer meant for plastic. Okay, so you saw me, I Mod Podge that, and I'm just putting this on top, and then I'm gonna try to get some of those wrinkles out, and I'm gonna go over the top with it, and that looks good. You can continue to go a little bit around the egg, but because this is the matte, it shouldn't really matter if you just do kind of that front part. So I'm gonna let that dry off to the side, and I'm gonna do the same thing with these ones. This one, I think I might do it on this bit of a surface that didn't quite get coated, just because I want to see how it's looking with that image on there. Okay, I can pick it up. There we go. Again, can you imagine doing these, like if you were to paint them like green and red and maybe put some Christmas images on these little pots and fill them with maybe some felt Christmas florals and that sort of thing. No, it'd be cute. All right, so that's that one. I'm gonna let that dry. And the big one I'm excited about, because I haven't done one this big yet. And this will go around a good amount of this pot. Be enough. Okay. Again, I'm just going to go over that. It's okay if you got kind of, first of all, this will dry clear. And so you don't have to worry about streaks. And I like to just really load it on. Then I know that it's not going to come loose after. And that's neat. All right, I will let those dry and then I'll show you what the finished product's looking like. Hey guys, I'm back and I want to show you how these came out. So this is the large one and I think it looks pretty cool. This is the image that we put on there. And this is the small peat pot. And this is the egg, how it came out, which is pretty cool again. So this is a really neat way to do something different for decor, incorporate into other crafts, and it's really easy. So I encourage you to, there will be links below for the materials that I used for this tutorial. And if you enjoyed this, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe and it lets you know when I've got a new video coming out. You'll get emailed. So I highly encourage you to do that and have a great day.